everybody to know that I am recording this, and I put this up in front just in case you can't hear me, so you can see. Oh, that doesn't say I'm recording. That says pay. Clever girl. There's two ways to pay. You can go to acedogsports.com, and you can also email me if you want a different way, but you don't have to pay at all. So that is totally up to you. It's pay what you can. COVID stuff. This is what I meant to show you first. We are recording. And again, my info is there. So welcome everybody to Pay What You Can Learning from Ace Dog Sports. This is study group number, I can't even believe it, number 36. We've done 36 of these. And we've got about a dozen of them posted on the YouTube channel, Ace Dog Sports. And we have the rest coming very, very soon. And here comes Jen. So please make use of those videos, and please let your friends know, and please post stuff on social media. It's even better than paying. So it's a good way, especially if you learn something. These study groups are designed to be thought-provoking. Nobody can really spoon feed you exact answers for you and your dog. I am really embracing in my career right now the part of the handler. You know, we spend so much time learning about dogs, and that's great. And the more you know about dogs, the better. But then you got to learn about your breed. And the more you know about your breed, the better. And then you got to know about your individual dog within the breed. And the more you know about your dog, the better. But I'm on to another piece these days, and it's you and where you go and what's easy or difficult and your kind of job as the communicator, because communication's a two-way street. So as you're learning about your dog, if you open up the idea, if you open up this idea about learning about yourself while you're doing it, because if you learn about what kind of teacher you are and what happens to you as a teacher when you're engaging with the dog. And I'm going to be talking along these lines and helping my students, the people that work with me, really get a unique language between themselves being who they are and their dog being who that individual dog is. Because I'm really fascinated about successes. I'm a performance dog trainer, but I'm realizing that the same things that get these top teams to the top, it's all about communication. It's all about communicating with your partner. So timing is a subject. I didn't forget that. And timing is probably the most elaborate dance we do with our partners. And it's always evolving. And if you think about dancing with a partner and leading and being in sync, and up in the ante and increasing your capabilities in a real positive light. Timing eludes way too many people in this sport. Way too many. You know, I made a joke on Facebook this morning, like, you know, when was the last time your teacher just jumped up and down and said, oh, that timing, it was impeccable. How wonderful. We're usually hearing you're late. And I have become fascinated with how to teach it, but I can teach it. I can tell you what's important and I can tell you what to do, but you're not going to want to, because when you're out there with your dog is going to give you feedback that's going to rattle you. and it's going to make you think that you're on the wrong track. And your brain is going to play tricks on you. So that's part of that piece that I just put in there. I want you to embrace what I say about timing, because the number one thing that you need to know, if you make a decision that you want to improve your timing of your skills, the timing of your cues, inside and out of the competition ring, if you want to make it a thing, first step, you got to make it a thing. You got to say, I want this. I think my dog needs it. There's value in it. I believe that the number one reason that dogs check out is because they get frustrated with the lack of timing. The number one reason that dogs turn around and bite handlers is because of lack of timing. We can blame a lot of things on it. So timing evolves. So that means just when you get your dog, you guys, this is how I live. When I get my dog understanding the timing that I think is reasonable for them at the level they're at, for the cue that I'm on, I up it. As soon as they get it, I up it. Well, what would you think if I did it a little earlier, pal? What would you think if I did it a little bit sooner? One of the lectures or study groups that lives on YouTube is about training and repetition. And it talks about how I use patterning in getting timing better. And I've met so many people. Well, my dog doesn't like drilling. Well, who the hell does? I don't like drilling either. That's why I called it repetition training. I gave it a catchy, friendly name. It's the way you do it. So if you approach repetition training as drilling, yeah, it's not going to be fun. But if you can reap the rewards from it, now all I'm talking about is using patterning in a fun, upbeat way. You got to entertain them. They're little doggy brains. And again, my brain just went to breed, not all, right? Some breeds, you don't have to entertain them, but many you do. And we should always be utmost and willing ourselves. So using repetition training where the dog is getting patterned so that you can then, the dog knows where they're going because you just patterned them. And then you can start playing with that timing. And it's a beautiful way to sneak it in where you're showing them that cue sooner and sooner. Why? Why do we want to give the cue so much sooner? Because it will relieve you of the frantic feeling while you're handling in competition. It will make it go away because you won't be handling the thing that's happening. You will be showing the dog the thing that's going to happen next while he's doing the thing that you just showed him. My 1 Jump, 2 Jump video talks about being in sync with the dog. And it's one of the very few things that I regret on my published material because it looks in sync, but it's not. When a handler and a dog look in sync, the dog is actually reading information that came before. It isn't like this. It's do that, I got it, do that, I got it, do that, I got it, we're on to this. And the dog is reading like a ticker tape, the cues. So when you've given a cue and the dog is about to do what you've said and you're on to the next thing, it makes it so you're in the right place. How many times does a run go bad and we say, yeah, I wasn't in the right place. I wasn't in the right place. So let's look at these 2 articles. I'm going to screen share and I'm going to do that right now. And you should see my screen now. So the article starts out with the classic, what I was joking about. Are you sick of hearing being told that you're late, late, late? And what is good timing? So my feet first my Feet First program, that's the Webinar Plus is going to be for sale, I think next week through Clean Run. And that's where I go live and take questions on it. It's a good price. It's only $30 or something. And you get the whole program. But in that, I've got a lot of video where I'm testing the audience as to whether or not they would say the timing was good, and different ways to see timing. But I really think looking at video and teaching yourself, seeing what you think is good timing versus bad time. You can't watch it once, you guys. You've got to find a section that appeals to you. It looks like the dog knows where he's going next all the time. That's what you're looking for. And then what you want to do is freeze frame the dog on approach and see what the handler is doing. So because here's the damnedest thing about the whole kettle of fish. The dog can look right and the timing was still bad because the flow of the course. The dog was being fed the right thing by the course design, which is nice when you've got a judge that's talented enough to do that. But you will be able to tell what the handler is cueing. So say the dog walk, for example, dog walks long, the handler might be behind the handler, and then there's whether or not you can hear what they're saying. But there's some obstacles, not all obstacles are created the same. A jumper's run could be, because the handler isn't if the handler's at the beginning of the dog walk is always already on, that handler may not be cueing the same thing. But look at your tunnels, look at your jumps. If the dog has already gone in the tunnel and the handler is still setting the line to go into the tunnel, the handler is late. It may have been a spot of the course where the handler didn't have an option and the handler knew they were going to be late for the next thing. But so I'm giving you the exceptions too, because I think that's what we do when we're scrutinizing video, is we're like, yeah, but she said this, but this is the case. So that's why I'm giving you a couple exceptions. But in general, especially over jumps, the way I look at it is, so say there's two jumps, yellow jump and a blue jump. First jump's a yellow jump. Motion toward it can cue it. A verbal rap cue can cue it. A turn away verbal I have many ways to tell the dog what to do with that thing when he gets there. So at some point on that path before that yellow jump, that dog is saying, yeah, I got it. Yep, it's the yellow one. Okay, you're clear. I got it. So if I'm still saying it's the yellow one, it's the yellow one. Now he's closer. He's going, yep, could I know what's next, please? And I'm saying it's the yellow one. If when you freeze frame that video, that dog is going over that jump and that handler is still facing that jump, especially if only if the dog was to wrap it, or the handler, it's basically hasn't cued a turn yet. If there is indeed a turn to the blue jump, we'll say that there is, then the handler is late. And the handler is still saying it's the yellow jump. And you can find a lot of video and watch a lot of people in competition that are still saying it's the yellow one, not only after the dog has left the ground, but while he's over the jump and after landing. So one basic core thing that I'm trying to teach and I'm trying to execute, it's a fun goal. I'm not beating myself up. I'm just trying to have my turn cue finished, verbal cue, physical cue, or combination before the dog takes the obstacle. So that's how to learn to see good timing, what good timing is. And I would say that good timing is as early as it could be, not as early as you think your dog wants it, as early as the dog could handle. And what the definition for me is in regards to that is that it wouldn't have meant something else. I'm not going to give a turn cue to go left 2 obstacles ahead, because that would mean go left on the next obstacle. So when my dog needs more help understanding, no, take the jump and then go left, that's a teaching thing. That the dog is allowed to ask me those questions. Timing is only going to be at its best if your cues are consistent. So could you have great timing and inconsistent cueing? Sure. Could you have great consistent cues with crap timing? That I have lots of students that have to cross that bridge. They've worked so hard on perfecting their cueing system, and they get so disappointed when they have failures because the timing isn't there to support the wonderful, beautiful system of cues they've created. So skills to get started, voice inflection. I taught myself in the car. I do not believe, or maybe it would be better for me to say, I haven't met the handler that could take controlling their voice inflection with their cueing system to the level that it can be, the useful dog wanting level that it could be on course or even in training sessions. I taught myself how to be able to say, go, 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 scramble, go, 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 come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, tunnel, tunnel, tunnel. That's a good boy, sweetheart. Sit. That's it, babe. Down. So I've taught myself through practice. I can't inspire people to get that. And it's so, when you go, 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 come on, so many people sound like that on course, or once they get a little bit, you get over here. And then it's, good boy. They have real hard time, changing. Learn it, guys. It's cheap and easy. Peripheral vision skills. Some of you have heard me talk about the value in learning and getting comfortable with, I can sort of see it, but I'd rather see it better. Or I can tell it's there, but I can't really see it. Practice that with jumps and your dog and get comfortable saying, I can still tell it's there. I've got enough of a visual connection so that you're not having to struggle with that. Do I have to turn you guys, if you turn too much, you can't handle well. It takes away from your handling. Hands, feet, and mouth. Good handlers are in touch with their bodies. So in order to have some self-exploration around your timing, you need to know what you did and when you did it, guys. And I'll tell you, there is, and this doesn't have anything, not a hoot to do with agility experience. But learning, so many times I'll say, you dropped your hand when the dog was supposed to stay out. I did. Or I'll hear, oh shit, not again. Or I know it, I can't quit doing that. So that's a level of awareness on your part. And it's not good or bad. It's just simply saying, the lady on Wednesday night made sense. And I'm going to try to experiment with focusing and getting in touch with my body enough that I can know, because how are you going to influence your timing without it? If you intend to change hands or rotate when your dog is at a certain spot on the course, you've got to have enough body and awareness to be able to do that. Now, I'm not meaning to intimidate anybody. I'm trying to encourage you, because I have had the experience myself of being intimidated by, well, Jesus, if I have to, really, you're kidding me. I just want to have some fun doing agility. How hard is it? It's not you guys, we are doing so many things for our dogs at one time that lots of people who have not honed these skills and lots of dogs that are not the best trained stay on course and get the titles. I'm working with folks that want to be clearer with their dogs, that have the goal of being as clear as maybe they possibly could be, out of respect and concern for their four-legged partner, because it seems like the nice thing to do. So then we get into how to plan timing. And I think once I get to that course and I start explaining to you how I personally plan my timing, the planning of the timing is about the course. It's about the obstacle, the dog's love of the obstacle, what might be on the, I mean, my timing for a turn cue on a jump is different if it's a corner jump with no candy on the other side of it, talking to my dog. It's different. My timing of my turn cue on a jump, if there's an open straight tunnel very close to the landing side, I got to warn him sooner. If he's coming off of a table, my timing is going to be different because I'm not going to have as much momentum as if he's come down a straight line of jumps out of a tunnel. So how much momentum the dog, it's just like, think about it like driving down Highway 1. Are you in a Mack truck? Are you in a Ferrari? Are you going the speed limit? I can't tell you how much to brake or how much to turn the wheel. That's between you and the vehicle and the rate of speed you're going. So again, it's like, for me, you guys, it's the fun part. The asking my dog, you know, if I get you jazzed up and we're flying, when do you want me to hit the brake in order for you to know how much collection to put into the turn? That's all it is. Or how soon do you need to know to go left or right? And in the beginning of the training, if I give, this is the single most challenging part. What your dog tells you one day that he wants and needs may not be what's going to work best for you guys as a team. You may need to say to the dog, in order for me to give you all of the information for all of the obstacles, I actually am going to have to give you the information sooner. So what everybody does is they give a turn cue and the dog, it incurs a refusal. It pulls the dog off the obstacle. And what does the handler think? That was too soon. Maybe the dog just doesn't understand what you mean, that I mean for you to take the stride or two and then take the jump. I think it's a teaching lesson. So if I say, boy, what I would really love is to be able to tell you here to take the jump and then turn tight, or to take the jump not so tight and pick up the weave poles. It would be easier for me if I could just tell you here. Then you got to teach that when the dog says, oh, I thought, and I'll get to the meat of that matter in just a second. I'm going to be doing more about identifying when we get to the course. So I've already talked about, so the deciding on what you want the dog to do, making decisions. I don't know if you've all read the article or not, but it's, you know, I'm trying really hard to make things simpler and simpler and simpler for my students. Do I need you to go straight or turn? 2 questions. Check a box. Do I need you to turn a little or a lot? 2 questions. Check a box. You only have so many cues, you guys. You don't have 360 turn cues. And if you do, you're fooling yourself. So the description of your body parts, and this is back to what I was talking about, you know, my students, you know, I'm telling them your hands, your feet, your mouth, your eyes, and they're like, you're kidding me. You want, you know, I got to get all this right. And I'm like, well, what do you think your arms might make a difference to your dog? I mean, could they? I mean, is how you're talking, could it affect? Here we are, we bought these dogs and we brag to our friends, oh, my dog knows it if my heart is broken, and my dog knows it when I do this. And we love it that they're reading all this stuff about us. It's what we love about them as beasts on the planet Earth. And yet we're, you're going to ask me if I think this matters. But I'm going to say, I'm pretty sure that it all could. So why not give it a shot to make it all these signals, these verbal signals, the hand, the feet, the mouth, the eyes, why not just see if we can match them up, make life a little easier on this dog? The object of the game for me isn't get it perfect and feel miserable if you don't. So let's look at this course a little bit. This was one of those courses that as you're walking it, there's moaning happening. And I just look at these courses and go, okay, this is the course. Let me, what tools do I have? There's no point in looking at something. I'm not going to throw shit at my dog he doesn't know on a course. I'm not going to do well, I think he might, I hear that. Like, what are you going to do over here? Well, I think he might get, I saw somebody else walk this turn cue. So let's just talk about this course a little bit. The information zones are numbered. So this information zone is what I'm using for obstacle 2. This information zone is what I'm using for obstacle 3. And when I'm walking courses I'm hoping you can see my cursor here, you guys. I'm going to jiggle it to let you cue into it. So when we're walking courses at ACE, sometimes folks will get mixed up about that. And they'll be like, well, wait a minute, I thought I was cueing this jump. So where the front cross goes, or whichever turn cue I'm using, I'm going to back up and I'm going to dabble on how I walk a course. Everybody that knows me is going, oh, no, don't go. Don't go that far off. I'm going to stay under a couple of minutes here. I identified the dog's path, the best path for the dog, the geometry. If you had a pencil and it wasn't about dogs or skills or cues, and you were drawing the flow of the course, you're designing a garden and you're making a path. Like, what's the smoothest path that you would have your bricklayer lay? And I was working this week with some top handlers, and I couldn't jar those ladies out of turn cues and decisions and just keep them on the geometry. So I'm looking, after I get my geometry, the flow of the course, then I'm going to decide which turn cue. So I may be looking at a SERP to a blind here, a front cross. There's a lot of ways to handle 3 to 4. And the only way I'm going to make that decision is based on 5, the path to 5. And that's why everything is one ahead. Because if I can have the dog, if you think about the jump, let me get something you can see better. If you think about the jump and the dog's spine, and that you could do something on approach to that jump so that the dog landed in the path for the next obstacle. So whether he's going over like this or like this. So I'm always thinking about the dog's spine, the black pen, in relationship to the jump bar. So then one obstacle ahead, if I can get the dog to take the obstacle ahead in a way that lines him up, that's line setting for that next obstacle. So I'm telling the dog how to the information zone is not where I'm at. It's where the dog is. When means where. When do I cue is where the dog is. So what I'm telling my dog to do when he is here on this 4 is designed to set the dog, this is obstacle 3, is designed to set the dog up for obstacle 4. When the dog hits this information zone, what I'm telling him to do with the long jump is going to help him get into the tunnel. When he is here, I am giving him an extension cue. If I gave him a collection cue, it would buy me this end of the tunnel. Got it? So it's one ahead. So I would be, as soon as Tux came around 3, I would be telling him, go on, so that he would land out here on the broad jump, on the long jump. And now this end of the tunnel is easy. So then he's going to the weave pole. So I need a tight turn out of the tunnel. So when he goes, so that's why, so this is, it's a new way to think. So 6 is the poles. So when the dog is here, I am telling him something that is going to help him know it's the weave poles when he comes out of the tunnel. And I'm telling him to turn tight. This information is irrelevant to where I'm at. Is there an ideal place to be? There's a place I can be that will help him even further. What's that called? What's that place called? Somebody unmute and yell it out. I'm going to take a drink of water.
Positional cue.
Positional cue. Thank you, Jen. So, and then the question is, could my hands be doing something that would help with that turn tight cue? Could my line setting help? And my answer is yes, 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 yes. I often say I am a national champion by 1/100th of a second. So you can ask me if something, well, could it maybe influence by 1/100th? And I'm going to say good enough for me to be inspired. So, so I'm telling the dog and cueing with everything that I can, depending on where I'm at, to turn tight out of the tunnel. Because if he turns sort of tight out of the tunnel, I may have to give him more information to keep him off of this jump. While I'm giving him more information to keep him from taking this off course jump, I'm not able to do the next thing. My dominoes start to fall. And my master plan is to get me in the right position to handle number 20. It's like dominoes. So everything is contingent on stealing a couple of feet here, a couple of feet there, and having my dog on completion of the obstacle before completely set up for the obstacle that's happening next, or knowing what to do if it isn't. So 8 is here. So remember with what I did with the pens, here's the bar, which was the black pen. Here's the yellow pen. I need to do something in this area. And this one, you guys, I'll tell you, I am a student of timing. And what did I say when we started? I'm always saying, what if it was earlier? What if it was earlier? If I did this diagram again tomorrow, this little block would be here. I could start influencing the way my dog's spine took this jump, so that when he lands, I'm just pretty much, it's a green light. If I had cranked him not tight enough, he may have missed this jump, run over here. If I hadn't told him anything, what would he have done? We could even say this is the information zone, you guys, right here. What should my dog think is next as he's weaving? So here's my dog. What's he think is next? Whoops. Anybody?
15.
Hmm?
15.
What obstacle? Did you say 16?
I said, I think it's 15.
15.
Right,
Yes.
that next
15.
jump.
Yep. 15 is what my dog, oh no, that's bad. Huh. Hold on. Don't panic. Nobody panic. I can do it. I'm going to take the long road home though. There's another obstacle that he might be thinking of, depending on the lead he's on. So when he's weaving, tunnel. He can see that tunnel. He can see this entrance of the tunnel when he goes into the poles. We can talk all day about woulda, coulda, shoulda, should he be, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, this is an obvious obstacle. He could even be thinking this tunnel, but this is not an obvious obstacle. I guess he could have caught that obstacle in his eye. The point is, you want to have a plan to make that turn, and the tighter this turn is here, the more the dog's tummy is going to take that bar in the way you want. Now the problem is, once you get that line set there, it's not going to behoove you for your dog to take this jump going the way my arrow is, the natural line from 7 to 8. So you have to tell your dog to turn. And if he turns too tight, oh no, I did it again. I'm just going to leave it blue. Come on. Shoot. Oh. There's a computer whiz out there that I'm making pull their hair out right now. So I need the dog to turn. So the refusal line of 9 is here. So this was one of the trickier parts of the course, because if I cued that tight of a turn, I got the wrong jump. And if I cued this tight of a turn, I'm not going to be able to get that tummy, that spine of my sweet little dog lined up for 10. So I had to cue a turn that got the dog at least out to there. And with too much of a go on, my dog could easily think, the folks in the audience that do NADAC could easily know that jump would not be hard to get. So this is all about the geometry. Now, 10 to 11, look at how nice and straight that is. And I can just green light my dog all the way to there. But what's my dog going to see coming out of the tunnel? So that's why 12, when my dog goes into the tunnel, he needs to hear, feel, see, D, all of the above, something that is going to make him know that it's this jump. So they could see this jump. I like to look at the ribs of the tunnel. They could see this jump at about here on this particular course. So I look in those tunnels and I see at what point on the course is this jump going to start talking to my dog. Here, kitty, 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 here, kitty, 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 kitty. So that means I've got to tell Tux, it's not what you think. Don't listen. And so that would be a here for him, and decide what path I need to be on. And then you guys, it just goes from there. You've got the article. You can dissect it and start imagining when your dog is here, when your dog is in all of these light boxes, would you know the thing that would help him best for you to say, and the inflection to say it in, and whether or not to repeat it, what your arms could be doing, what your feet could be doing, arm up or down, line set or not, is your foot going to be pointing at the obstacle or paralleling the path or at the takeoff? So spend some time with that. And it's a pretty detailed explanation there. So now, I'll just go to 2 from here, even though I've had it all. I think that I covered the benefits. I think the best benefit for you is that not feeling panicked, not feeling like, oh, I got that one. Oh, I got that one. Oh, it's the next one. It's like it's executing, he's on his way. I can go tell him what's next. He's on his way. I can go tell her what's next. And then this bit about the refusals. So this is what I was talking about earlier, the truth about when it's right, it might look wrong. And I think it's the hardest thing to put on you guys is because I have a lot of folks come to me with very talented dogs and they're very talented handlers. And unfortunately, they've gotten into a groove of bad timing. The dog has been trained to receive the cues late. Most of those dogs don't run as fast as they could. Of course not. It's like I get late, they're prepared, and it boggles my mind what a dog can and will do to accommodate a poor handler. It's amazing. I had a loss of words there for a moment. And so what happens is the handler, because they have a lack of confidence, they aren't sure. They're like, well, if he doesn't understand, he's not reading it right. So what I recommend is that you notice on your own videos when your dog leaves the ground to take a jump when he's in extension. And then you can rest assured that your dog can learn and would prefer and will excel and appreciate getting timing before that spot. It doesn't mean he's going to understand it instantly the first time you show it to him. It isn't going to erase the way you've been doing things for however long you've been doing it. So you should, by law of logic, incur a lot of refusals. You should give those cues earlier and the dog go, hold the phone, man. You're supposed to tell me later. So the main thing that, if you get one thing from tonight, guys, it's when you incur that refusal from presenting that turn cue sooner, do not, for love nor money, turn back to the old position. Stay in that new position, which is usually a simple rotation, and show the dog, hey, pal, newsflash, you can take that jump even if I've already turned, especially if you heard that verbal confirmation, that dig, 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 or whatever that turn cue, left, right, whatever your verbal turn cue is. And then you're going to start teaching your dog the cue to take that jump was up here. You can believe me. I really do want you. I've already cued it and I'm on to the next thing. But you've got to be open to the questions. You can't say, damn it, when I did it the way she said, my dog thinks he should come with me. Of course he does. That's what you said before. You're changing stuff up. And then I hear, oh, it's not fair. Well, you're going to give him anything he wants when he does it. You're just going to pop him over the jump and give him the ball or the cookie or the hugs or the kisses or the whatever it is he wants. He's going to get his thing. But don't get, this is how we go wrong. We give a turn cue and the dog who's been stealing tunnels for 2 years picks up the turn cue, misses the jump, and you're thrilled that he picked up the turn cue. Oh, he knows his left, but he didn't take the jump. And we cannot act like that's a minor technicality. We don't have to scold him. We can just say, oh, I love it that you took the turn cue and get over the jump too. And now I'll give you everything in my pocket. Okay, so have your cake and eat it too. This drill here is how I get myself and my students and their dogs used to early timing. So we wait and show the turn cue till the dog is almost around the thing, the stanchion, the cone, the garbage can. And then we start presenting the same information. Remember, it's not when, it's where. when the dog is at 1, when the dog is at 2, when the dog is at 3. Where you're at is irrelevant. You could practice this timing with you on top of the cone. You could practice this timing with you here, 5 feet from the cone, garbage can, stanchion, jump, tunnel. You could practice this timing 50 feet away. But the dog is learning, I was told to go do it, I can go do it. And they love it. They love being ditched. That's how they play with each other. They're trying to ditch and trick each other. It's exciting. Waiting. So not getting the turn cue, you're still saying, go around the thing, go around the thing. He's like, I'm around it. I would like to know what's next. And when you start ditching them and you have fun with refusals, you give the dog the cue and he's way back here and he's like, you're not getting away from me, mama. I'm a coming with you. And you go, oh, don't do that. No, get the stanchion too and then get me. Don't show them disappointment when you're playing with this. I'm starting to yell because I'm getting excited. Competitive timing is a practice that has to be utilized constantly. It's like on my contact training, I do a lot of figure 8 drilling. I do with my weave poles too, where it's just 2 jumps and the obstacle. And my handlers think, because they're working the contact in the middle of the figure 8, the dog walk or the A-frame or the poles, that the timing of their front crosses or their rear crosses or their poles or whatever turn cue they're using, Yakos, whatever, doesn't matter. Well, doesn't probably matter to the dog, but you're not good enough to be lax and do it half-assed part of the time and not give it your all of the time. So use simple drills as vehicles to always challenging both you and your dog. It does have to be a way of life to reap all the benefits of it. And I'm gonna take, so this little test here, I wanna give you some time, guys, some time. You can take on your own. You've got the article. And it's not about, these are the core basic things that I need to know the answers to in order to devise a plan. You guys, my plan, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I want to give my partner, I want to be a really good partner to my dog. It's really important to me. And asking my dog to run as fast as they can and hurling them at obstacles at top is saying, you go fast. It's important. And I'll see what I can do about the timing. I feel really strongly that I've got this, obligation to at least give it my best shot. You guys, I'm not perfect. You can see me go wrong any weekend, probably, that you'll want to. But these are the things that I feel that you have to know in order to create a plan that will then have a plan that you're just giving it your best shot. All right, I'm going to stop the screen sharing. So spend some time with those questions for me. They're good ones. Okay, questions. Anybody still awake? You could tell me if you're awake, and you can type questions in the chat. No chat questions. Should I go back to those other questions so you guys can read them, and I could make you answer them one at a time? That would be fun. Questions? Jen's going, yeah, give us the questions.
Okay, I'll have a question. So if you get a refusal, for example, if I'm doing cueing the dig, 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 and I'm turning a couple times today, I did this with Zumba, and I had been working on her following me right before that, so I think I got her confused.
Good.
So she went over the dig, 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 and then, or she was heading toward the jump, and I said dig, 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 and then I turned early because I'm trying to do that earlier, and she thought she should stop and come back with me.
Sure she did. Good
so
girl.
should I just stay and just smile and look at the jump?
Well, what I'll help them. So I'll freeze as soon as they make the mistake. I freeze, and that's a core communication tool in my language. If I've stopped, that's why I don't have to do much of uh-uhs or scolding.
Okay.
I call it the cookie machine is broken. So it's like, you just broke the cookie machine. And I'll give them a second to, and I'm looking at the stanchion and I'm smiling, but I don't hold it forever. And I've got some energy in my body. And then I might even say, you can do it, dig, dig, dig. And then I'll do what I call a swashbuckle, where I might step back a little bit closer if I absolutely have to. But it's a rare, rare, rare dog that in a minute isn't gonna, you're just smiling like there's figure it out, I call it. But if I turn back to do it, then I'm saying, I promise I'll face this way. I will not turn back to fix it. I might inch toward it backwards.
Okay.
And I'm saying dig, dig, dig. But I wait a minute. I mean, I want to know if they're going to, because if they go, cookie machine is broken, that means this job is on me. And they go, they'll look and they'll bark at you and they're like, come on, you're facing the wrong way. And I'll say, no, I'm bloody not. I still want you to do the stanchion. And they're like, but you're facing the wrong way. And what I love what you said, Kristen, is about the confusion, because you had just been working on stick to my leg, right?
Right.
And so she's like, hold the phone. I just ate a boatload of food for sticking to your leg. Why the hell? And then this is something I'm so fascinated with right now. I won't take you here. We're going to do one of these though, because what happens to my students is what affects the dog. Because as soon as you guys go, there's a wide range of emotions, but one of the popular ones is he's confused. She's confused. Oh, and I know why their confusion is there, because I just worked on my leg. Now, but it's not fair. So most handlers do not get excited when their dogs get confused. I get absolutely excited and inspired as soon as I can connect those confusion dots. And sometimes I did this with a puppy the other day, because the puppy it was the same thing, Kristen. It was the opposite. I was trying to do close. I had just done a bunch of dig, dig, digs and tunnels, and I was in the middle of them. And every time I rotated, the puppy was shooting off like, oh, what's in my sky? And I got to laughing. So I was struggling. I was trying to do close, and I upped the rate of reinforcement, and believe you me, I did lots of shit right. And the puppy still kept, I'm in tunnel, dig, dig, dig mode. So what I did is I stopped and I said, you know what, kid, I'm going to show you what it will look like when I want tunnel. So I said, tunnel, tunnel, dig, dig, dig. And I paid a bunch of dig, dig, digs and tunnels. And then I did a close, close, close. So what people will do is say, oh, I've been doing the close too much. And now all he wants to do is close, and I can't get the dig, dig, dig. Your dog is smarter. I don't mean you personally. I mean, in general, you guys, I've been dog training for 30 years. And in 2020, the dogs are smarter than they've ever been in my whole career. I can't believe how much smarter dogs are getting the more I train. So I'll just take that, right? I keep them right together. And the next day I might need to stop and build some value, but I'm not going to give miscues or lies to get it. I'm going to say, yes, you can get lots of cookies for healing on my leg. And in the next 5 minutes, figure out that when I'm turned this way, you go around that and the cookie machine wakes back up. Do not underestimate them, but you got to give them some chances. I'll ask students, how many chances how many reps would it take before you would label the dog doesn't get it? He doesn't know it. And everybody says 2 or 3. And I know it's 2 or 3 because that's what I used to say it was. And that's what I believed it was for my dogs. It is 6. It is 5 to 6. If your dog can't figure it out in 5 to 6, then yeah, maybe we got to go back to kindergarten, break another concept down, or there's some other fundamental piece of the puzzle missing. But I am all in to give it. If I was teaching you how to pronounce, let's say, a word in French, I don't know any French, and I said to you, okay, you've got 2 chances, you'd be like, forget you. I need a couple more tries than that. So hang in there. Do not be afraid to teach opposites, even in the same session. Do I mix it up endlessly? Of course not. But you guys, I'll be honest with you. I'm mixing things up. I used to say it had to be 80% baked. Like you'd have to have this 80% understood and that 80% understood before you asked. I think it's lower. But you're fine with 80 if it makes you nervous. If you're trying to teach something that doesn't feel right here in your heart or make sense here in your head, the chances of you being a good teacher plummet. And what I want to help you guys with is how to be the handlers you want to be, the trainers you want to be, the competitors you want to be. And they're very different things. Did that help?
Yes, that's good.
Do not underestimate what your dog can figure out. Let them tell you. It is so fun. It is so fun to just say, keep smiling, saying, yeah, there's cookies. Yes, I love you. Use your brain. They get so excited. And then you've got a thinking dog. And the dogs that are out in the world spinning and barking and begging for help are dogs that have been trained, in my opinion, to not think. They've been spooned as soon as they have questions. Their handlers race in or change the cue. That's the other classic.
Sandy, I have a question for you. I understand your concept that you don't want to go back to the beginning. You want to correct instantaneously, which you were just talking about that right now. How do you correct instantaneously if a dog pops the weave poles, like misses the final one? What is the correction? To go back to the whole set or to convince the dog to finish the weave poles?
Well, that's a beautiful question. What I do always, if a dog pops a pole, is I turn around and I weave back and then I go back again. Without rewarding. So if they pop out of 10 in the middle of a sequence in coursework, or like in a class, I would turn around and go back. And then I would weave again. And then I would go back to sequence because I got to know if that popping of 10 was a fluke or if it's an ongoing issue. If it's an ongoing issue, I have to build value in exits. And then it's a training situation. So I build value in exits by back chaining. And I also build value in exits by handling as if my dog doesn't know how to weave in sequence and coursework and doing tons of extreme proofing, kind and gentle, extreme proofing in training. I hope that helps. Dogs that if you've continued, and the other thing, there's a lot of reasons why a dog will pop 10 and it's normally training. Tuxedo was my first dog that had that problem and he had it a lot. So he needs maintenance on exits. And some pole maintenance is just like contact maintenance or start line maintenance or grabbing the toy maintenance or whatever thing your dog really loves to do that you wish he didn't. They need help. They need help, maybe forever. Christine says, I'm here, had a good training session today, practicing the information zone. Amazing how Loretta responded with the earlier cues. That's because Loretta is smart and fast, and you guys, dogs get bored with bad timing. Amy, I hope that helped. the answer to what do I do on the spot is I turn, weave back, and then have a jackpot. And then I go back to sequence. But the problem with pulling out of the poles is you don't know if you did something as a handler that caused the dog to pop out. And dogs that are used to being rewarded right at pole 12 often have pop out problems because of anticipation. But then the answer is, do we have to handle in a way that prevents popping? And that's why for me, it's a handling sequence issue versus a proofing training project.
Yeah, when you're talking about giving cues earlier and suddenly the dog is pole popping.
Well, my information zone is nose leather at 12. So my execution of the poles is I'm committed to the weaving. I have a whole bunches of criteria for myself. And one thing is to continue moving in the direction that I want the dog to go. So if I'm peeling away from the poles, if I need to take another position while the dog is weaving, there are things that I do that say you are to ignore my lateral motion cue. Because normally when I do lateral motion, I want the dog to come with. So I try to handle poles in a parallel path, because whenever I'm paralleling the dog's path, that's take what's in your path. Now I've trained my dog that I can parallel his path in the poles at 50 feet.
Good information. You know, we're still pretty green at this, so I'm trying to absorb. Absorb and teach.
Yeah. We talked about that last week a little bit, didn't we? It's hard to learn it yourself and teach the dog too, and that's why I think our jobs, more than anything, are about being humble and understanding and all that about the dog. Any other questions? Questions. It's designed to be inspiring, not overwhelming. The other thing I want you to know about timing before we go, it is not an advanced skill. Kristen is learning timing with her dog on a garbage, well, I don't know if she's using a garbage can, but whatever she's using, it's one thing. And it is something that can be learned early on, and it has nothing to do with dog training. I mean, I work with some people that have, I mean, it's something. There's some innate skill in people. Part of it is the visual, being able to react when the dog arrives at a certain spot. You know, the dog is there, I do this. And part of it's being able to run with your head turned. I'll have more of that stuff when 3 Hats comes out, those basic core skills. But don't feel like timing is something that you'll get to after you've learned how to rear cross and front cross. Learning when your dog needs the information can be a deal breaker. And a lot of dogs that say, I don't like this game anymore, are dogs that had bad timing because it was looked at in the early stages as an advanced concept. It's not. It's like saying, you know, learning how to, I always make the analogy of the steering wheel and the gas and the brake. You had to learn all 3 of those at once. You couldn't say to the driving teacher, I'm just going to learn the wheel part here and not do those pedals. You had to do it all. Anyways, you guys, thanks for coming. Next week, there'll be no article. We're going to do, what are we doing? Oh, we're doing the distracted versus the responsive dog. I read some stuff on the internet that got my little bee in a bonnet. So we're going to talk about the distracted dog versus the responsive dog. And
thank you.
To that. Thanks, Leela. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you so much for coming.